I'm honored to be here sharing with everyone, and really excited to be in the practice. Really excited to acknowledge when I'm coming off my practice, so that I can reel myself back in. Excited to express in all of these different mediums and ways, so that we may all stay in a space of calmness, alertness, sharpness, peacefulness, and ready to act from a place of truth. As we know, we are living in some of the most, I'd say the most exciting times in our lives as humanity. And why do these practices keep rising up? These are ancient practices that have not gone anywhere. They've withstood the test of time, and they're here to stay. I feel that these practices of mindfulness, of yoga, of meditation, of concentration, of mantra, or any form of a conscious practice is going to support us to continue to carry on as precious human beings. And honestly, there's a great sense of both fear and peace that I've been observing. And humanity right now is being tested. All of our fears are being tested. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what our career is. It doesn't matter what we do for a living. It doesn't matter where we live. It doesn't matter the social circles we're in. All of our fears are ideally being tested. Now, I say ideally is because there sometimes is this false belief that we're not afraid and that we're not suffering. And the Buddha says, what makes us human is desire, and desire leads to suffering. So we are suffering. The number one root seed of suffering is the illusion and the ignorance that we're not suffering. So we have this false sense that everything is supposed to always be good. In connection to our conditioned mind, everything is supposed to always be comfortable. Outside of ourselves, everything is supposed to be in control. Everything is supposed to always be developing in a way that feels good to me, to I. And when this doesn't happen, it's like we throw a hissy fit, right? We get bratty about life. It's not going my way, so it's moving me inside. It's touching me. So now, what do I do about this? The practice of adaptive inquiry, it's perhaps a way to inquire, adaptively inquire, ask questions. And it's not the kind of questions that create doubt. They're not questions from confusion. They're not questions from stupidity. They're important questions that peel the onion layers, that allow us to go deeper and deeper through the layers, and not depth as in a measured sense, but just for the sake of pointing, is to really grasp the science of what is happening with I self. The first inquiry, proposed by Ramana Maharishi, Papaji, Muji, Krishnamurti, and all these great sages, seers and seekers, is who am I? And just to pose this question, to invite this question to settle, and allow a great space after I. Who am I? And this is the beginning. It's almost like this is the end layer. Simultaneously, this is the seat of consciousness, both meeting in the eternal dance of being, meeting in the eternal dance of becoming, moment by moment. Who am I? So I invite you to inquire, I invite you to ask this question, because it's what brought us here today, to inquire, who am I? Notice if there is a sense of a need, a desire to fill that space. And acknowledge how long you can stay in this eternal vast silence that happens after the inquiry. Just for a moment. Take your time, close your eyes, inquire. Who am I? And breathe into that vast space. Who am I? And now, the importance of this question is the lead and the pointing that we direct, that guides us, and that we guide. So there's some part of us that is asking the question, who am I? There's an aspect of ourself inquiring. And there's an aspect of ourselves, there's a quality observing the inquiry unfold. So if you can sit back in the seat of the heart and observe the one asking the question, and ask again, who am I? And sit back and observe the space. We realize that there is an I beneath the one asking the question. There's an observer. There's a part of us that can even hear ourselves in our own voice propose the question, who am I? There's a part of us that is gently waiting for an answer. And we can sit with this quality within ourselves, in the seat of consciousness. So we start to see the layers that make I self, I the character, and true self, and at a subtle level, higher self within. And this is the continuation of the beginning in the inquiry, the most important inquiry of our lives. In my opinion, in my practice, this works for me. So I invite you to close your eyes. And you can even practice this with eyes open, it's perfectly fine. The concentration, the focus, the observation through the inquiry is always the same. We don't need to sit on any any fashion of any cushions, we don't need to sit for many hours a day. We don't need years of practice. We just need the ability to inquire, the ability to observe who is inquiring, the ability to witness, the inquiry, and this is enough. This is enough. Let's take this moment to continue as we sit with ourselves. You may close your eyes, and if I ask you, who are you? If we put for a moment the title, your name, the given name, if we just for a moment suspend your name, then who am I? And sit with that. Sit with that. Sit with the space, nameless, labelless. It's almost like if you put it by the window, by the door, what you've been called, what you've accepted as your label, your name. For a moment, suspend your gender. Who am I? Genderless, nor female nor male. No sexual orientation, no name. Suspend that for a moment. Just for a moment. Notice if there is an attachment and there's a need to keep. And the invitation is just for a moment. Aside the name, first name, middle name, last name, second last name. Just for a moment, suspend. Suspend gender, male, female, just for a moment. Suspend age. When your physical body was first recorded to begin in physical form on Earth, which determines an age. Suspend age for a moment, because truly do we know when we are born, which part of us is born? There is an infinite existence that we are. And in the birth date, only a part of us, which is physical body, is recorded. And this birth date of the physical body is celebrated every year. What about the moment when the sperm and the egg, the divine sacred union of two energies met as one, that I was born? When was that? This may be considered the birth date. Now let's suspend any conceptual construct, belief of birth, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental. Let's suspend that for a moment. So nameless, ageless, genderless, I. Now as you sit in this space, is there a part of you that is existing still? Yes, of course. If I ask, are you in there? Are you there? You'll say, yes, I'm here. There will be a response from the seat of your essence, your truth. Yet, nameless, ageless, genderless, as we have suspended these ideas, these identifications that we place behind the I am. So we've stripped away about 3 layers of identification. Are you still you? And there's only this focus, this concentration and sharp mindness right now. Are you still you? Is this part of you, can it be found anywhere particularly inside, in your existence? Can you find you? And without driving ourselves crazy looking for ourselves, just sitting with the inquiry is enough to sense this expansion, basking in the essence of our seat. This is plenty. Plenty to sit with. Without label, without name or terminology, without age, without gender, I am. And we pose the question, who am I now? Because I still am. Who am I? And can we observe from the seat of consciousness? Sit back and observe. And for a moment, suspend your beliefs. Just for a moment. Place them by the door, by your window, with your name, with your age, with your sexual orientations. All of your beliefs. I believe in this religion. I believe in this practice. I believe in this theory. I believe in this truth. I believe things are the way that they are because of X, Y, and Z. Just for a moment, suspend your beliefs. Empty from beliefs. After all, beliefs are made up of things that are and that aren't. There's the word be and lie. Be is, lie isn't. So belief is made up of what is and what isn't. So let's suspend that for a moment. No beliefs. Are you still in there? Are you still you? And in this process of inquiring and sitting in the vast space without the answer, there's a sense of the answer almost arriving and almost slipping away. Now, this is true. There's this sense of arriving and going, of the question and the answer. And allow yourself to sit in the observation and the witness of arriving at your seat and sensing of as if there is a going. Who am I? The question arrives. Consciousness moves forward into this vast space of mystery. Nothing there. And even this nothingness is being perceived. Who am I? And for a moment, suspend all of your accomplishments. Just put that outside the door of the window. From grade school to middle school to high school to college to university to the workforce to the businesses to the enterprises to the empires to every accomplishment, to this hike and this trek and finishing this race and that race and starting this and finishing, starting this and not finishing. Suspend all the accomplishments, nameless, ageless, genderless, beliefless, without any accomplishments, no success, therefore no failures. Suspend all your experiences, all that you have lived, good, bad, happy moments, sad moments, just for a moment. Park that outside. Suspend the traumas, the moments of ecstasy, all of that, just for a moment. Can you suspend the saddest, most traumatic moments of your life? Can you suspend, put aside the happiest, most joyful moments of your life? Just for a moment. Notice if there is a part that's holding on, that's gripping, afraid of losing identity. Because if I let go of that, then who am I? And just for a moment, suspend so we can sit with this I amness, this beingness. So now, without any experience of life, you just arrive to this present, massive, infinite, abundant, timeless, labelless, ageless moment of now. Breathe into the vastness of this space. And now, are you still you? Are you still in there? Are you still there? Sure we are. I am. And you can echo this truth within you. I am. And sit with that for a moment. Now, is this I amness, can you touch it? It cannot be touched. Does it have texture so it can be touched? This infinite truth that you are, that we are, that I am, has no texture. Can you see it? Where you are, can you see it? You can't see it. However, is it still there? Is it still you? Is it becoming more evident? And the more I am becomes, the less I can touch it or see it. It's this vast. Now, as we have suspended the record of our age, which is hearsay, is this you that is sitting in the seat of consciousness, in the seat of I amness? Does it have a beginning or end? Is it finite? Has it begun? Will it end? And sit with the inquiry. And if you accept the invitation to inquire, you're accepting yourself becoming of this vast infiniteness. Cannot be labeled, ageless, believeless, cannot be touched, cannot be seen. And from this space we inquire, who am I? And sit, observe, and sense. There is this gentle, subtle quality of arriving, inquiring, and this gentle quality of motion forward. And as we sit in this space between arriving and going, between asking, inquiring, who am I, and waiting for the answer, in this gentle, subtle space between action and inaction, such a gentle, small space that is so vast. Now, if we strip away the idea that there is a part of I, self, asking the question, then who am I? Just for a moment, the one inquiring and reasoning with this question is being observed from the seat of consciousness. And I ask, are you in there, observing this one, asking these questions? Yes, you are, of course. You've always been. We've always been. We will always be. Now, this ever observing witness, silent, most powerful seat of consciousness, does it need to be identified? Does it need gender to be identified with gender, male or female, human being, non-human being, thought, idea? None of these words will ever fit this one. Can it be changed? Can you go in there and change something about this one sitting? Has always been here. Essence. Pure consciousness. Can you change its look? We cannot change its looks. We can't even see it. It can't even be seen. It is. So the unchangeable one can be a label, a pointing to identify from which space we inquire. The unchangeable one, observing the one that is constantly changing. So we dance and come into the space to the one constantly changing ideas, labels, age, beliefs, attachments, things, changing relationships, changing patterns, changing addictions, experiencing fear, success. There's part of us that is constantly changing, and you'll feel for a moment as we come to this unchangeable space again. We drop into the seat of consciousness. We arrive again. And it takes less effort to be here in this state. So sit and observe the one changing. The one changing manifests sometimes as a mental attack to the unchangeable one. It's almost like it's poking at it. Hey, are you, I see you're in there trying to hold still, the being, and I'm here too. I'm here too, being observed, being witnessed. And as the identity and the changing one, I also see the unchangeable one. And this too has a sense of arriving into and going onto. Is the one sitting in the seat of eternal bliss within you evident? And you have this right to sit in this space. Just for a moment, sit. Ageless, nameless, genderless, beliefless, without attachments. Suspend now for a moment your goals, aspirations, even purpose. Whatever you believe is purpose. Suspend that for a moment. I'm here to be this and this and that. I'm here to do this, this and that. I'm here to accomplish. Suspend any goals, any expectations, any results for a moment. Put that all by the window in the pile of things that are there, should you choose to retrieve them at the end of this contemplation. Suspend the results, the accomplishments, the purpose, the to-do list for a moment. And sit back in the seat of consciousness. Are you there? Are you still you? Purposefulness. Is there a vast sense of natural essence expressing. Perhaps this is the only purpose. Is there a sense of simply being, sitting in the most comfortable seat we've ever sat, the most blissful, without any identity or definition to who am I? In the vast emptiness, effortless, in the abundant wholeness, in this divine space of arriving, in the sense of going. This is true. There is this sensation of action and inaction. The sharp space in between is the sensation of nothingness and wholeness, and the sweet, gentle space in between. This is the great gift of becoming oneself with all in the eternal moment right now. This breathes through you right now. And may we bask in the glory of this bliss always. And for a moment, there comes a time with effort and choice to pick up all the identifiers, all the dynamic expressions of this character that we have built, that we have accepted to be the one that's always changing. As much as we have a choice to sit and be, the unrecognizable one, the unchanging one. A simple practice to inquire, who am I? I am. Om. Thank you, everyone.